And host Eric here again with another brief foray into the wild world of live streaming. Because I'm up and I need to go back to bed because obviously I'm still sick. My body seems to have made a fair amount of progress over the course of the night. But definitely still sick. Let's see what's going on here. Good morning, Matarazi Sound, aka Alexander. Good morning, Winston's mom. So yeah, I'm sick. I don't love being sick, but it's not the end of the world. It may, however, be the beginning of the end of the world. Fortunately, that may take hundreds of millions of years, so should be fine. So, earlier this morning, when I first woke up, middle of the night, I had a little live stream. It included a bedtime story. So I haven't told a bedtime story in a while. And it's not like I'm on anything really. I'm just on Eric and having a cold. Of course, this times out really slabularly. And the reason it does is because on Tuesday, I get my new bottle of Adderall. I should be pretty well over this cold by Tuesday, At the moment, I still feel super feverish. When I got up, I took a couple of ibuprofens, but I can still feel the fever in my bones. I've got a fever, and the only prescription is more drugs. As far as I know, she's feeling fine. Hopefully she doesn't catch it. Today's a day when I would like to get a lot of important things done. Maybe most significantly, talk to the septic tank people, but I also like to call JS West, get both propanes filled up all the way. And it's quite likely that at some point today, this morning, I'm going to have to poo. And I'll probably just end up pooing here because I think we've got a little bit of room left in there for another poop or two, maybe, but obviously, we need a working septic tank. There's no getting away from that. So hopefully they call back early this morning. If not, I'll call them again, or maybe I'll call a different septic pumping company. So I was pretty pleased with my bedtime story last night, even though 4 of the 5 people involved died in the story. At least Lady in Red escaped. I may have offended a Muslim in the story by having him eat pork in the story. First he drank pork flavored liquor and then he ate a hot dog. So he may have been a little offended by that. But I tried to explain to him, hey, pigs are for eating. Get over it. And the Muslim person objected, hey, that's not kosher. Alright, let's go back in. This isn't going to be a super long live stream. I'm really just waiting until hopefully a combination of a couple of ibuprofens and a couple of multivitamins that I took earlier will make me want to go back to sleep here pretty soon. Yeah, I am taking a health 2 medication. Elaine, I have to say, I was a little oblivious the other day when you said you're BF. Congratulations. I did not know that you and a little somebody named Chris Chapin have been, betraying your soulmate Kevin. And I've been talking to Kevin, telling him, listen, I may have gotten the name of the soulmate wrong. Raquel Torres still wants to sleep. I had a kid in middle school when I was a middle school teacher named Raquel. I always called her Raquel. Oh. Yeah, Kevin needs to get over it. I think I unnecessarily got his hopes up, and it's kind of my bad. Yeah, I tell you, man, talking with famous people is the best place to meet people, like for dating or whatever, because it's not explicitly a place for that, so people get to take their time, get to know each other a little bit, it's fair, just, and true rather than bullshit. I believe in things that are fair, just, and true. Like America. Yeah, there's a new couple around. Well, listen up, Elaine. I want you to buy a plane ticket to California. Chris Chapin can too. You guys can come stay with us. If the other house is being rented out, you can stay here. If it's not, you can stay there. Yes, really. Really. I've spoken to both of you two. It's fine. Azura's here. 420 up in this, Josh. Merhaba. It's fine. Whatever's up there is fine. I don't see anything. Except for Azura's normal obsession with BBC. Hi, simple girl. Yeah, I'm sick. I have a cold of some kind. But, my approach to getting better from my cold is to take analgesics, drink a lot of liquids, try to smoke less a little bit. Not too much less. Yeah, we're gonna 4 and we're gonna 20. Hashtag get. It's weird how this place lends itself to romance. Well, for the reasons I articulated, I think, Hero Lamb. It's a good place to meet like-minded people in an environment where it's not explicitly for like picking up chicks or whatever. That allows the women to move at their comfortable pace, No, I agree. It's not a romantic channel. I don't cover romance very much. Azura says, "Where did you catch cold?" Well, I think I caught it from Cameron. Now, Cameron called me a couple days ago after he left here a day early because he was getting sick to tell me that he had COVID. But the thing is, if I caught COVID from him, then what they say about let's say about the incubation period, if that's true, then I can't possibly have COVID because I couldn't have caught it from him and have it come in that quick. But I don't know. Maybe I got COVID, maybe I just got a cold. Is there really that big of a difference? I don't think so. The important thing is I really just need to sleep a lot more, rest more. But I'm not really feeling that sleepy at the moment. UNC go band for band right now. UNC do a 360. I don't know what UNC is. University of North Carolina? Ugh. Oh. I don't know what ligma is. I see. Well, I just had to Google it. now that I know what it is, I won't fall for it again. I've never heard it before, so it's fine that I didn't. I didn't know what it was. I mean, it's always possible to get me once until I learn about something. It's just to be expected, right? You heard me hear it before? Oh, okay. Well, sometimes it takes me more than once to remember something. UNC sing the song, son. You skill get better. Well, I'm not in a very singing mood right now. I'm sick. I am trying to get better, you know. I could have a digital virus, but it feels like a very analog cold. It's like probably what I should do right now if I were really on top of my shit. It'd be like go jogging right now. That's generally the best thing you can do when you're sick. It forces your body to hurry up through the process. But I just don't have it in me to go jogging right now. That's a pro tip for y'all. If you get sick, you don't feel like it, but if you force yourself to get up and go jogging, then when you get back from jogging, you'll feel really like, ah. But then after you recover from that, then you'll feel better. Get under a lot of blankets, get warm, sweat it out. Yeah, well, I try to avoid being feverish when I sleep, so accordingly, I try to take a couple analgesics so I don't have a fever. Good time, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Goodness gracious, it's you. Elaine says question mark. And I say answer mark. You should call a period answer mark. That's for exclaiming, Elaine. How's it going? Well, pretty poorly, really. Everything hits at once. Yesterday, first, I discover that our septic tank is backing up. Needs to be pumped, probably. Did not expect that. Was not looking forward to that. Second, I discover that I have a flat tire. Then, of course, I get my tire pump out. It's completely out of charge. I have to charge it. So we never end up getting anywhere in the car yesterday. Then the septic tank people never called me back. Then I got sick. Horrible day. Just like everything that could have gone wrong went wrong. Ever enter a room and scream, Eric, and do a pose? No. I try to be like Britney Spears. It's like, oh my God, it's Eric. Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot of bad events in one day. So, needless to say, I'm pretty frustrated. But I'm not even like well enough to be frustrated. I'm just like, I think what I'll do here probably pretty soon. First, we'll go to the garage for a little bit. I don't even have any cigarettes. I do have some butts. And that's better than nothing. So, I'm going to go into the garage. I have another house tube, but, a couple of them. Then maybe I'll come inside and tell another bedtime story. Yeah, 260. I'm gonna get upset about it. The only thing I'm really upset at all about is the fact that for whatever reason I'm not feeling very sleepy. It's like I know I just need to sleep more, but I just find myself unreasonably awake for no good reason. I guess that's what's implicit in saying it's unreasonably awake. So there's no good reason for it. It's cold in here. Coming in here, I can really feel my fever in full effect. I got that weird, like, thermoregulation goose pimples thing going on. Because when you're sick, obviously you don't thermoregulate as well. I think probably what I'll do after I have this is go just lie down, tell a bedtime story, because it's about all I have in me this morning. Last time I got into bed and told a bedtime story, it successfully put me to sleep. So maybe this time will play out the same. Maybe it'll put me to sleep. Maybe it'll put you to sleep. Maybe you don't want to be put to sleep, but maybe it'll put you to sleep anyway. Although my bedtime stories are pretty exciting, so sometimes they might keep you awake with the suspense and action. Let's go see who's here. Who I can try to make a mental note of who to include in my story. Of course, I'll probably forget some people. I usually do. I forget you. Don't feel bad about it. It's just because I'm a forgetful Fran. Not because you're not important. All right, let's see who's here. How do you know about the cello debacle of '85? How do you know about that? Yeah, I'm awake. Some people like me in this room and just fall in love somehow. It seems odd. Isn't there a Discord for the channel? There is. Carlos Paeta here is in charge of it. Um, did I tell about it before? I guess I must have talked about it at some point before. Unless you also went to Foothills Middle School. All right, so we got Azura. We got the man with the great machete, Elaine. Elaine, Good Time, Azura, Padawan, Carlos, man with the great machete, Good Time, Padawan, Azura, Hero Lamb, Padawan Rangebender, Elaine, Carlos, Elaine, Padawan Rangebender, Hero Lamb, man with the great machete, Good Time, Azura, man with the great shitty, man with the great machete, or TMWTGM, Tim Watt Gum, um, Tim Whit, Grimm. Uh, well, I have Fix a Flat. Okay, Good Time. So I'm gonna drive on it a bit to make sure it just didn't lose air. You know, sometimes that happens when you put air in it, it doesn't go down again. Uh anyway, Hero Lamb, Elaine, Man with the Great Machete, Good Time, Padawan Rangebender, Hero Lamb, Azura. I'm going to try to remember to include all of you in this story. Are people on there like they are here in voice? I don't know. Rachel really enjoys the new Discord server, and she didn't like the other one, so that makes me happy. All right. Let's go to Brad. Let's tell a bread time story. And let's just hope that it puts us all to sleep. All right. Remember, we all win when Eric goes to sleep. All of us. From the most Azura of us, to the most Elaine of us, to the most Good Time of us, to the most Carlos Paeva of us, to the most Hero Lamb of us, to the most Man with the Great Machete of us, all of these things, we all win when Eric goes to sleep. So, let's enjoy our fine story. Okay? All right, here we go. Once upon a time, Hero Lamb was just leaving court, where the judge said, "All right, you." You're fine now. You're free to go. And Hero Lamb's like, "Phew." And he walked out of court. But he walked directly into almost Azura, who was walking by. And he's like, "Azura?" And Azura's like, "Yeah." And Hero Lamb says, "What's up?" And Azura says, "BBC, of course. What else?" Hero Lamb kind of rolls his eyes. And he says, well, anyway, nice seeing you. I gotta walk home now. But it turns out that Azura and Hiralam are walking the same direction. And every time Hiralam makes a turn, Azura makes the same turn. And Hiralam says, what are you doing? Why are you following me? And Azura says, I'm not following you. And Hiralam says, well, where are you going? He says, I'm going to your house. And Hiralam says, why? I didn't invite you over. And Azura says, oh, you didn't hear? We're having a big meeting at your house. There's already multiple people there. And Hiralam's like, what? So they go back to his house. And sure enough, the man with the great machete is there. He's got a great machete. And Elaine is there. And Carlos Paeva is there. And Good Time is there. A lot of people are there. And here I was like, what are you guys all doing in my house? And Elaine says, listen, it's very important. And here says, what's very important? She says, Chris Chapin has been kidnapped by a Mayan Shankus and taken to Mexico. We need to rescue him. And Good Times is like, I can't believe I got invited to this. And Azura's like, you think you're surprised you got invited to this? I'm super surprised I got invited to this. And the man with the great machete says, well, I'm not surprised at all because actually we're going to need my great machete in the jungles of Mexico. And Carlos Paeva says, I can't believe I agreed to come along on this thing. And Elaine said, well, you got free passage over here because we're both from Europe. I was able to just put you in my suitcase and you were able to get all the way to America for free. And Carlos Paeva said, yeah, but now I have some serious back pain. And Good Times says, hey, Carlos, shut up. Quit complaining about your back. And Azura says, what you need, Carlos, is some BBC. And Carlos is like, shut up, Azura. I don't even know why we invited you. And Elaine says, okay, everybody, calm down. And at this point, Harold says, how did you guys even get into my house? And Carlos Paeva says, never mind that. Now, let's move forward with our plan. Elaine unveils, to everyone's surprise, one of those big white paper things that you write on and you flip it over and there's another big white paper. Anyway, and she, on the first page, it just says goal, rescue Chris Chapin. And everyone says, okay, we got that part. We got that. Go to the next page. She turns to the next page and it says, step 1, go to Mexico. And they're like, but how are we going to go to Mexico? She turns the page. And what is she drawing there? Hot air balloon. She said, I've been checking the wind reports and we are due for a southwesterly wind that should carry us right over the center of Mayan culture in Mexico. One of those pyramids I've identified as most likely to be the one where Chris Chapin is, being held hostage by Mayan Shankus. Now, if we don't get there fast, Mayan Shankus may sacrifice him to his Mayan gods. So we got to hurry. And then Azura says, what's on the next page? And Elaine turns the page and it says BBC. And he says, oh, how are we fitting that into the plan? And Elaine says, we're not. I just put that there for you. And she turns the page, and Good Time's like, okay, well, is the hot air balloon not big enough for all of us? And Elaine says, listen, I fit Carlos Paella in one of my suitcases. I'm sure we can all squeeze in this hot air balloon. How many of us are there? And here Lamb counted and said, okay, there's me, there's Elaine, there's Carlos Paella, there's Good Time, there's Azura, there's who am I forgetting about? Um, Hero Lamb? Did I say Hero Lamb? Or he didn't count himself. Hero Lamb. And so he said, I think there's six of us, but there might be one more person here who's invisible that I've forgotten about. And she said, no problem. My hot air balloon basket is made to fit four people. And Hero Lamb said, but there are six of us. And how did you guys get into my house? And Elaine says, never mind that, you. And she says, don't worry. We will squeeze in, no problem. The important thing is we have to go right now. So everybody put on a couple of jackets and stuff because it might get cold. And we are heading to Old Mexico. So everybody applauded. Azura said, can we write BBC on the hot air balloon? And everyone said, no, Azura, shut up. And then they loaded into the hot air balloon. First, Good Time. Then Azura sat on Good Time's lap. Then you had Carlos Paiva get in, and Hero Lamb sat on his lap. And then you have the man with the great machete get in, and then Elaine get in. And that's all the people who you see get in. But there may have been somebody else that I forgot about that snuck in when I wasn't looking. Anyway, Elaine says, great job, everybody. And Hero M's like, how did you get this hot air balloon in my backyard? And she's like, never mind that, you. And she cranks up the gas, lights it on fire, and the hot air balloon begins to fill up. And everyone is, their breath is bated with anticipation. Finally, they lift majestically into the air and begin floating in a southwesterly direction. Elaine is periodically licking her finger and sticking it out the side of the hot air balloon to see which way the wind is blowing and making important adjustments accordingly. Sometimes she'll go a little higher and then the wind will blow more with the direction she wants it to, or she might go a little lower. Anyway, using this navigation method, she majestically floats over the Mexican border and nobody bothers her, surprisingly. No F-16s arrive, no Mexican Air Force. Anyway, pretty soon she's floating over the middle of Mexico and she starts to turn down the gas to make the balloon go down and down and down. Finally, it lands, and it lands right next to this great, giant old pyramid covered in vines. But Hero Lamb says, look, everybody, a clue. And when they look, they see there are all these octopus suction prints on the ground where Mayan Shankus was. But clearly, there's only there's one leg missing, and that's the leg that was carrying Chris Chapman. So Elaine says, we're on to it, guys. We found the right pyramid. And the man with the great machete says, all right, I'm up. It's my time to shine. And he takes out his great machete and he begins chopping away at vines that are on the pyramid. And then Azura says, you guys, I think the entrance is over here. And they walk over, and indeed, there is what appears to be where there appears to have formerly been a door. There's a doorway that leads into the dark underground passage. And Carlos Paiva says, look, more section prints. So they follow Mayan Shankus' section prints all the way into the inside of the pyramid. And they go down and down. It gets darker and darker, but they all have their cell phone flashlights. Finally, Azura says, I'm scared, you guys. My phone is about to run out of batteries. And Carlos Paeva says, my phone is too. Hero Lamb says, well, I got about 60% left. And at that moment, Relaine says, shh, do you hear that? And they all listen carefully, and then they can hear this faint which is the sound of suction cups walking across the floor. And Hero Lamp says, well, we're almost here, I guess. That must be Mayan Shankus and Chris Chapin, hopefully. But you know what? We forgot to bring any weapons. And the man with the great machete says, aha, you forgot about me and my great machete. And then Azura says, and me and my BBC. Everybody crosses their arms and says, Azura, you don't have a BBC. And then the man with the great machete abruptly runs into the room where he hears Mayan Shankus from without consulting anybody, screaming, I'm gonna kill you, Mayan Shankus. And it so startled Mayan Shankus that Mayan Shankus dropped Chris Chapin and ran away. Hero Lamb says, hurry up, grab Chris Chapin, let's get out of here, because Mayan Shankus will kill you. He's so tough. And you just have a machete. And the man with the great machete says, this is not any machete, Hero Lamb. This is a great machete. And Carlos Paeva says, who cares how great your machete is? Just get Chris Chapin and let's go. So Elaine scoops up Chris Chapin in her arms, and he's got a lot of suction cup prints all over him. He's a little dazed, but seems otherwise unharmed. And she says, oh, Chris Chapin, are you okay? And he says, Elaine? And Elaine says, yes, it's me. And Chris Chapin says, how did you get here? Wait, let me guess. Was it hot air balloon? And she says, yes, you got it right. And they all laughed and ran out of the pyramid, got back in the hot air balloon. But the problem was that the wind was still blowing southwest. So they had to go diagonally all the way around the world to get back to Hero Lamb's house, which took them several weeks. They were emaciated, dying of thirst by the time they got back, but they did successfully get back, disembarked, and all lived happily ever after. The end. So I hope you enjoyed your Mayan Shankus story. Have a wonderful day. I'm going to try to go back to sleep.